All right, everybody, welcome back to another Pilots and Drones podcast. I am your host, the coach, Kent Ayers. That's right, we're in the house today, baby. We're at the Drone Champs studio here at the illustrious Drone Champs in Garden Grove, California, right off the 22 and Valley View. Come on down for repairs, courses, classes. We'll teach you to build a drone, repair a drone, even get your Part 107 license. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about drone repair. That's right. We're some of the experts at it here. We've done a lot of repairs over the past 3.5 years of our existence. We've done everything from TBS, Crossfire, ELRS, KISS, Ghost, all those protocols, but also broken arms, cameras, custom builds. And we're going to go over a little bit of that today and why drone repair is so critical when it comes to your drone flying confidence. So let's hit it right. No matter what, you're going to be saving thousands of dollars on repairs. If you break an arm, gimbal issue with your DJIs, broken camera, you're going to want to get that repaired. But are you going to do it yourself? Are you going to go online? Are you going to learn from videos online and then hit these stop gaps? Does your local education center, such as a college, trade school, high school, uh, Veterans Affairs, or American Legion offer that? Maybe a veterans group offers it, but most of the time, you're going to have to go to one of these specialty drone shops, just like ours, Drone Champ, and you're going to have to get it repaired. Now, DJI, uh, we've hit a bit of a bugaboo here in the United States. They are no longer offering repairs. They have issues with parts, labor, uh, just issues coming in. So there are official third party DJI repair shops. We officially are not one of those, but we do repair DJIs. We do repair broken arms. We do repair gimbals. We do repair things like that, but we are not an official site because you have to go through some of their protocols and things like that, which can get kind of expensive. And we don't really see that many yet, but maybe after this podcast, we might be seeing some more coming in. So again, you got things like ribbons on your gimbals popping out. You got broken gimbal motors, broken arms. We really don't hit too many battery issues because if your battery's having an issue, then you're pretty much done in the water. When it comes to your FPV, now we're repairing everything under the sun. We're doing everything from props to tuning your drone, fixing flight controllers, ESCs, switching out cameras possibly, or repairing cameras, switching from a DJI O3 air unit to possibly an O4 air unit, going from analog to digital, replacing walk snails, all those types of things we've done here at Drone Champs, and we are the experts at those types of repairs for sure. We can repair any type of FPV drone that you're looking for. We've even done some of the Cinelifters out there, but we mainly work in that 5-inch to tiny whoop or micro drone 65 millimeter area. We fix all types of stuff. We fix controllers, we bind drones, we do all that kind of stuff, which can get really, really hard, especially if you hit a stopgap, which a lot of you can only watch so many videos. You're sitting there, you're trying to connect the ELRS via the Wi Fi binding, and all of a sudden it's just not working. Your password's not working, your code's not working. And that's when you got to send it on down to Drone Champs, where we'll get it all fixed up. And those are some of the more common things that we see, and those are stopgaps that a lot of pilots have. Um, that's usually what the pilots generally get wrong in this situation is they try to do it themselves. You are trying to, it is mostly hobby. So again, you're trying to learn on your own. You're trying to fix on the fly, trying to save some bucks because you're just out there trying to have some fun. But it's always best to bring it to a professional to get it squared up and fixed the right way. Because one solder, one wrong wire on the wrong pad, loose wire. You don't recognize something with the motor. Maybe the motors are wrong. They look the same, but they don't match. Maybe you have 4S motors and 6S motors on the same drone. Maybe you're putting a 4S battery onto a 6S flight controller. So again, there's a lot of these issues that you can run into, and that's why FPV is really a gauntlet to get through, and that's why Drone Champs, we're here to help you out. So let's start right off the bat. Why repairs matter? Obviously, cost effectiveness. You're talking about possibly a $200 repair to get your arm fixed versus purchasing a whole new drone, which if you get into those Mavic Minis or even some of the bigger drones, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you up there anywhere between, just for the unit itself, you're looking at four, 500, $600, and then controller and all of those combos add together. Sometimes the drone itself is $800, right? Because if you get the combo, you're running into the $1,000, $1,200 range, where the drone itself is six, seven, $800. So you bring it down to Drone Champs. We fix the arm for you, or possibly maybe a gimbal issue. Those are kind of tricky because they have codecs and codes involved in them and things like that. So those can be a little tricky. Sometimes we do refer back to the OEM, and I know DJI isn't repairing at the fastest, but sometimes it's a long shot, or maybe we can put in the housing and you might have to send it to an official DJI repair shop. And that still might be cheaper in the end because we still are the cheapest repair shop out there as far as consumer pricing goes. Now, again, downtime versus the quick fixes, right? If you got a lot of downtime, you can hit that up. You can hit up those videos on YouTube. You can check it out. But again, the problem is if you miss, you might miss big. You might fry the pad. You might end up messing up the ESC flight controller. Now you got to buy a new one, and you're up a creek without a paddle. Then you're on your third, fourth flight controller. You've gone into 50 bucks a pop, 70 bucks a pop. If it gets into the stacks where you're messing the ESC and the flight controller up at the same time, you're getting that puff of smoke of death that's coming right out of that CPU unit. You're $200-300 deep, and it's the same stopgap over and over and over again. So you need someone to help you out. Well, you either got to go down to the local field, and maybe someone might be nice enough to help you out. Maybe they might not even know what the problem is with your drone, or you take it to Drone Champs or an official drone repair shop, and they can handle it for you and get it all squared away. And that's really what you want to do, right? Because when your car's broken or something like that, you might be able to fix it, but the shop down the street's always going to do better. Now, again, it's time and money versus time and money, right? If you got a lot of time and a little bit of money, then you can sit and try to fix it yourself. Uh, but if you got a little bit of time and you got a lot of money, you're a professional, you need to get your drone up in the air quick, then you want to send it on to Drone Champ, fix and forget, right? Most of the time, everybody just wants to fly. It's nice to fix your drones and all that kind of stuff, but you even still don't really want to solder. Maybe some of you do. Get on your bench, have fun, do those types of things. But if you're in a professional setting, you got 5, 6 drones, you might be using 2 and you need the other ones repaired. You're coming home late at night, you're editing, all that kind of stuff, especially if you're a one-man band, and it's just really not going to work out, right? You're not going to get that done. That drone in the corner's been sitting there 2 or 3 months, and you know you need to get it fixed. You know a drone job is right around the corner. Maybe you need to fly around that Ferrari. Maybe you get a chance to fly indoors or something, and you need that Cinewhoop. You need that tiny whoop. You need that small 2.5 fly whoop fixed. So you got to bring it on down to Drone Champ. Well, $60 an hour, it's no problem. Or to your local drone shop, because otherwise you can really, really run into a lot of headaches. And especially when it comes to binding. Binding can get real tough. TBS Crossfire, ELRS, Ghost, Kiss, they're all different. They set up different ways. It's whatever you're used to, right? A lot of people were in the beginning really big on TBS Crossfire. Now a lot of people are switching to ELRS because it is so easy to bind. You can bind via Wi-Fi. You can even buddy bind, where someone can send their kind of rates and signature over to you, so that now you're connected to that drone. Um, that's how ELRS is working and kind of really dominated the situation. It is open source, but it and is also the cheapest solution. um, it's just your preference now, right? It's Pepsi, it's Coke, it's Android, it's iPhone. What do you want to pick? But again, ELRS is a lot cheaper. Here in the shop, we definitely recommend it. We put it on all the drones. We've converted so many TBS over to ELRS. We're not really seeing a lot of ELRS converted over to TBS Crossfire. So again, um, it just looks like ELRS is just coming out. It's open source. You can get it from multiple different companies. That's why TBS Crossfire is kind of losing ground, because they only come from one source. So that's where you can end up losing. But again, drone champs, we're here to help, do all that kind of stuff. And repairs can be really tough. Don't worry, it's not easy, right? Some of those videos out there, you can get deep, deep, deep into the weeds with those things, and you're like doing it step by step. You're like, I got it, I got it, I got it, and then it's still not panning out correctly. So again, it's gonna repairs from a shop. It's just gonna increase your confidence when you're flying, right? That's the key. We all want flight confidence. That's the main thing. We want to be able to fly with confidence. We want to make sure that our drone is connected. We want to make sure that everything that we do is ready to go. It's ready to go. Oh, well, I don't know if it's that funny when it's ready to go, but we won't be laughing when you're out there making a bunch of money or shooting some power loops with your nice YouTube videos out there. So again, repair, there it's going to save you money. That's the number one thing. It's not only going to save you money in time, it's going to save you money in cost, effort. Sure, could I learn how to repair the pistons on my car? Absolutely. But and even if I did know how to do it, what you understand when you know how to work on it is the time, the effort, the equipment. If I am going to repair my pistons, things are going to get dirty, things like that, right? I got to set it up to where it all runs. So, do I take my truck or drone down to the repair shop, drop it off, go home, watch the NBA playoffs? Or do I sit at home, watch the NBA playoffs, and do repair my drone? That's up to you. But again, we've had people that where the drones have sat for up to 9 months, a year, 2 years, just because they don't know how to bind it. There's different firmware updates. Sometimes you have to go backwards to the firmware. There's just all different types of things that can happen when it comes to fixing and repairing these drones. And if you haven't gone through the gauntlet of these things, it's going to be difficult for you to finally find that final solution. But we're here to help. We're here to do that. And again, time is money, right? If you're sitting there and you're trying to, bind this drone for 3 days, or turn it from mode 2 to mode 1 because something messed up, or you bricked it and you don't know what's going on now, where bricking means that it's just shot. You can't do anything about it. What do you do now? Right? What goes on now? You talk to the OEM, you're on the phone, all this stuff, yada yada yada. All of a sudden you take it down to Drone Champs and they got it done in 10 minutes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, right? Because knowledge is power, and that's what we provide here. We are solution based for our customers. Now, again, real examples, some real typical examples that we've gone over already, but most of them we're seeing broken arms, right? You're crashing, you're hitting the floor, you're hitting a tree, and whoop 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 whoop, arms broken. So you got to come into Drone Champs, get it all fixed up. The DJIs, we can do that pretty well. get into it, open up the casing, get that arm out, solder it right. Now you might be able to do it, but again, is the solder going to be right? You want to make sure a professional is doing all of that correctly because you want to have that flight confidence and you want to make sure that that drone isn't falling out of the sky when you're up there, especially if you're doing commercial work. That's where you really, really, really got to make sure your drone is tuned in and tightened up. And right, even race car drivers, professionals, even professional photographers take their cameras into the camera shop to get repaired. That's how it's got to be done when you're a professional. Now, if you're a hobbyist and you want to learn and do that thing, and that's your hobby, you could still get stopgap. Like I said, if you're trying to bind it, we've had customers come in where their drone sat for 9 months because they couldn't bind the drone and they just gave up after 2 months. They said, "Oh, I'm just going to let it go," which we do get that a lot, and it's sad to see. But we're glad that we can get people back in the air and we can provide those solutions for our customers. Camera gimbal issues with the DJIs again, those are a little tough, especially when it comes down to the software issue side of it. You know what I mean? So there are some things where we have some secrets and things like that where we can help fix that. But again, uh, there's nothing promised under the sun when it comes to those DJIs and their gimbals because there's codecs involved, there's codes where you might have to reset the firmware. And if you don't have that, or if you can't download the APK from their website, it's going to be tough. Okay, so how does the repair make you a better pilot? Well, now you're going to get an assessment right from us on what is wrong with your drone. And you're going to say, okay, well, I didn't know I was plugging it in and it wasn't giving me the second tone. So now the tech says, hey, you had an ESC issue, right? So the flight controller's firing up, but the second tone is to make sure that the ESC is connected to the flight controller. You're not getting a second tone. So now you got to send it to the drone channel, right? You got to understand why that tone, you know, why isn't it working? Did it get burnt out? Is the pin wrong? Is the solder wrong? Are you soldering it correctly? Is the power wrong? Is the soldering wrong on the power? Or is the 5 volt wrong on the wrong pad? Is it the wrong 5 volt? Are you soldering to the flight controller instead of the ESC? Are the motors being soldered correctly? All types of things can go into that. And you need an expert's eye to take a look at it to make sure that you can get it right and get you back in the air. Because the good thing is with a lot of customers that we've had, when they're starting to learn to fly drones, they get that a lot of flight confidence because what happens is they are confident that if they do crash, that drone champ will be able to take care of it for them. And that's really what we want to do. We want to be able to take care of your issues for you. And that way we could get you back in the air. We could still operate as a business and we can foster this culture that we would like to build. That's what this is all about. I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I'm in Southern California. I got 33 million people sitting around me. There's not very many drone pilots out in Los Angeles, Southern California. I mean, even if you talked a couple hundred, right? A couple hundred pilots, FPV pilots are very few. Maybe 100, maybe in the area, maybe, right? Um, if all of them came to me and got their drones repaired, it'd still be tough for me to make it through the month, right? So we supplement it with classes, with services, things like that. Our services are ran through our parent company, Pilots and Drones Productions, which is producing this podcast, the Pilots and Drones Podcast. Drone Champs is a subsidiary of Pilots and Drones Productions. So again, also too, what about tuning, right? You got your drone, all of a sudden you got it built, it's ready to go, flips over on you. What? Wait a minute. Why is this drone flipped over on me? What's going on here? I got it all built. I followed all the steps. I put in the beta flight. We're good to go. And then all of a sudden, whoop, whoop, and we're done. Oh no! Yeah, right. Because you do not want to make sure that you end up like a right. We don't want people laughing at you when you're out there. We don't want the birds laughing at you. Right? That's number one. The, today a crow actually did go after my drone. I almost needed a repair for it, but you don't want the birds laughing at you out there, right? No, you want them cheering for you. That's what we want. We want them cheering for us, and they're going to be cheering for you once you're done with getting your stuff repaired at Drone Champs. Let me tell you, I've been in the business a while, 13 years here now, and repairs is definitely a confidence booster. You want to make sure that you really do find a good shop if you're near one, because otherwise it's really really tough to put that bird up for risk, right? You're trying to make money. Things do happen when it comes to drones. I mean, heck, we just saw what was it, Justin Smash? He crashed during the Long Beach Grand Prix, right? It happens, and you just got to make sure that you can you can fix that thing. Now, crashing during a live situation that might be a little bit different, but you can at least fix the drone, right? Um, Most of the time, the drones don't explode into infinity to where you can't really ever get them back. They kind of just get parceled out. Mostly the arms break and then the camera break. But if you hit it pretty good, you can smash up those flight controllers. A lot of the time, the VTX goes down too, the video transmission signal, because those are very sensitive. And if you smack it pretty good, it's going to go down pretty hard. So, again, usually the common repairs, just basics, motor replacement, props, with really getting those on correctly. We get that too. Sometimes when your drone flips over, you don't have the props on correctly. Soldering basics, just basic soldering, right? Because again, if you're not the best or most confident at soldering, you just hand it over to Drone Champs and we'll get it done for you. Diagnosing power issues, loose connections, receiver issues, video signal problems, antenna damage. There's all types of repairs that you might need that we can handle. That can happen simply just by landing the drone different. Your drone flips over, all of a sudden you nick the antenna or break the antenna. Now you can't see video, or you're not getting any transmission signal from your transmitter, right? No RX signal. So that's kind of the problem when it comes to crashing your drone, right? There's all these moving parts that can happen, and you got to be ready to either get it fixed or fix it yourself. And again, it's tough to be a jack or Jill of all trades, right? Like you want to be able to fix your rig, but if you got multiple rigs and you got jobs, just it's a lot easier. Time is money, right? Take it off to the side. Look, if you're 2 3 years into the situation, sure, right? Like in the beginning, get it fixed. If you find there's going to be a midpoint, right, where there's going to be a cost assessment where you're going to say, okay, I have enough knowledge, I can fix these things a little bit to save myself some money, and then I can upgrade. I can get the money that I need, and then slowly I'll go back to repairs, right? So it's going to go repairs, fix myself, then back to repairs, because you're not going to have the time. You're not going to have the time to sit there and fix it, right? If you are making money, you are doing these things, you're doing one of two things: you're running the business or you're flying the drone, right? If you got to come back and fix it, now you're going to lose out on money, because what that means is you're not going to be able to go fly again, right? So if you break a drone or have to fix a drone and you can potentially do 3 jobs in one day, now you can only do 2 jobs in one day because you have to go fix the drone. Now you could get all 3 of those jobs done if you say, okay, I have multiple drones. I got 5 6 drones. I'm going to be able to. I got 2 5 inches. I crashed one 5 inch this morning when I was doing drift cars. So I'm gonna put that one aside. There's no way I'm going to be able to fix it because I got 3 days worth of drift carts going. But I only have one 5 inch up now. So let me take this, drop it off to Drone Champ. let them fix it, or repair shop, let them fix it. And while I'm still flying, the drift car is making money, and then they can fix it and get it right back to me. So again, instead of, oh, let me go home and then let me go fix it, stay up, not be freshed up for flight the next day. Also, your footage, if you're editing and doing all that stuff, you're one person band, then you're right. If you're doing two jobs in a day, then that means you got a lot of editing. You got to get it back to the customer. You don't have time to repair. There's going to be all these things that add up, you know. So again, there's just a lot of uh, so many issues that can happen, right? These are complex machines. There's a lot involved with it, and you got to make sure that somebody knows what they're talking about. So again, that's what we're talking about: repair shop versus DIY. You're out in the field. You got a wire that's coming off your ESC. Get your little soldering kit out. Put that bad boy together. But again, if you got a negative double tone where you're hitting it and you get one tone and then the next tone's not hitting it, forget about it. You know what I mean? Just see if you can do something about it, but then put it off to the side, go to the repair shop. Because again, you do have to be able to know how to fix it somewhat a little bit, because then that way you're not going to sit there and tell the customer, hey, sorry, I can't do this. You want to be able to perform for your customer as much as possible if you're doing it for commercial uses. If you're doing it for hobby, you want to keep flying, right? So you want to be able to either make sure that the drone's repaired correctly or you're doing it on your own. And also, too, even if you are doing it for hobby, take it into the repair shop. That way you can go to work or do whatever else you need to do during the week and then come back and get it later. Okay. Again, there's a lot of situations. So when do you want to go pro? Is when there's complex electronics involved, warranty concerns. Usually FPVs don't have warranties. If you are under warranty, you just send it back to DJI. I don't know what the policy is with them or what's going on with that whole situation. But again, good luck. Even to myself, I do own some DJIs myself, so we'll find out, right? And then again, high end drones, right? If you got a high end drone, it's a little difficult, but most high end drone people, if you're running, say, a octocopter FPV that's carrying a Komodo or something like that, you're going to want to be able to fix that. But the reality is you want to have a tech, right? You want to have a backup. You want to have somebody there to bounce off ideas or check things out. Anyways, an extra pair of hands, an extra pair of eyes on site. It's always best to fly with a VO or a production assistant because again, don't try to handle everything yourself. And it's just like production. When if you're just a camera guy or you're just a drone guy, you're going to be very limited, right? And your customer's going to see that anyway, especially if they're paying you a lot of money. But if you can mitigate all that and say, hey, this is my engineer here. I'm going to keep flying. He's going to fix the drone while we keep going or whatever else. That makes everything look a lot better. So, again, one example I could say where, oh, perfect. I had a DJI, or I do have DJI M210, right? The If I was putting in the SD card, it was not reading my cameras anymore. It was saying one of the cameras would disappear, whatever, right? So I was trying to fix it. I was trying to do software. I was trying to do everything under the sun. Put it on the Matrice software, the DJI software um, program where you can manipulate stuff. Just wasn't getting anywhere. Sent it into DJI. Even they had problems with it, which made me feel a little bit better. But again, this is an enterprise drone, so they fixed it. They got it squared away, and I've been flying ever since. So again, and make sure you maintenance your drones too. Make sure you get those maintenance repairs in because it will extend the life of your drone. Right? If you get maintenance repairs in there, you're just going to be extending it longer and longer. When I had my M210, or I'm sorry, I still do have my M210. When DJI was offering it, I was getting the 200 hour. I think it was a 200 hour or 400 hour or something like that. I was getting the annual maintenance repairs and things like that. So hopefully, now that they don't offer that and they have discontinued the M210, I just got to play it safe and close to the chest as much as I can. Again, I think the M210, the DJI M210, was the best drone that they ever made, hands down. Um, didn't really need to. I felt they really didn't need to move to the M300. If they did, or the M400, and it does have some extra features and stuff like that, but it wasn't like the design of the M210 was not a problem. The thing was is it didn't have its own batteries, right? It was using TB55 and things like that you could use with Inspires, or TB50s that you could use with Inspires if you had version 1, but if you have version 2, you had to go with the TB55 because they wanted to make sure that you were going with all that stuff. See, with DJI in the beginning, they had a lot of ways you could mix things up, right? Like with an Inspire 1, they even gave you a hand gimbal. They wanted to integrate you the whole way. You could use the batteries for different things and stuff like that. But as they got through it, they took a big page, big chapter, big encyclopedia out of Apple's book and said, "Hey, if we make everything OEM, then we'll uh, we'll make more money and we'll focus our customers towards us," which that helped them with consumer drones, right? With the photography drones, with things like that, that helped them. But it did not help them in the FPV world. What did help them in the FPV world was them offering the air units, everything from the Vistas to the O3 air units, now the O4 air units and the Mini. But again, those are all competition based because Walksnail had that stuff out first with the Ascent and the Ascent Lite, the Goggles L. Again, DJI still is kind of offering a cheaper goggle with the N3s, but still not doesn't have a really cheap option. Um, so again, when it comes to repairs, DIY versus professional, it just depends. Okay, we are gonna take a pivot here, and we're gonna do some hot takes. So here's the hot take segment, and let me make some bold, opinion-driven situations here. Most pilots are too dependent on DJI and don't understand their equipment. Absolutely, 100%. That's why you buy them, though, right? That's why you buy the DJI, is because it's so easy. It takes off, it flies. You click a button, you can take a picture, you can take a video, and that's it. That's all you need it for. That's a use case function. You don't need it for anything else. You can make money off of it doing simple tasks like that, but you don't really need anything more. You don't need to understand your drone in order to make it work for you. I don't understand my car. I understand. I put gas in it. I turn the key. It turns on and it moves. I know there's an engine in there. There's a transmission, some drivetrains, some brakes, spark plugs, whatever else. I don't know if it has a camshaft. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in there. Right? I'm not a car guy. I am a car guy, but I don't know what's going on inside there. I've never built a car, never taken it apart. That's not me, right? If I wanted to DIY it, I could plug and play and do it, but I could mess my car up. So again, do you need to understand your equipment? Not necessarily. You just really need to understand how it works and how it works for you. If you can't repair your drone, you're not a complete pilot. Ooh, I don't think so. A lot of airplane pilots don't know how to fix their airplanes, right? You have to be, what is it, SCI certified or something like that. It, it's not kind of a rite of passage to know how to fix your drone, right? A lot of people don't know how to fix their DJI. Um, FPV pilot's a little bit different. That's kind of a rite of passage if you know how to fix it. Let me tell you, I've had pilots where they just buy a new one. They'll just buy a new bind and fly. They don't even want to fix it. They don't know how to fix it. I even had a guy in here. He had 30 drones just because something would happen to him, and he would just buy another one. It was easier for him to buy another one than it was for him to sit around and try to pay for it and do whatever else. You know what I mean? So again, no, I don't think not knowing how to repair your drone doesn't make you a complete pilot. But again, you do want to understand your equipment, right? FPV pilots are better troubleshooters than camera drone operators. Yeah, I'd have to say that. That just comes with the nature of the beast. Because with FPV, well, let's reverse that. So let's take a couple steps back. Couple steps back.
Awesome.
Okay. If you FPV, you can do it with DJI. FPV can do it with wings. It doesn't have to do with quadcopters, all that stuff, right? But the main thing with FPV is there's a learning curve. There's a learning curve with FPV, and you're gonna crash. You're gonna crash, one way or the other. Whether it be a landing, even with a DJI FPV, a lot of the time you can have a lot of fun with those and things like that. But a lot of the time they crash. Right. That's why they weren't very successful. Was because there was no repair situation really, or the repairs were really expensive. And with FPV, repairs can be fairly cheap. If you break an arm, just one arm, and the motor's fine, you can unscrew the motor, just replace the arm with a couple screws, put it back on, and you're off to Sheboygan all over again, right? DJI FPV, you break the arm, you got to send it back to the OEM. Who knows what it's going to be on that price tag? So again, it comes with the nature of the beast when it comes to FPV. Because if you are running 5 inch, if you're running 65 millimeter, 2 inch, 10 inch, even if you're running wings, you're gonna go down. You're gonna crash, but it might not necessarily mean that the drone is broken, and you might have to just fix it a little bit. And that's where the hobby side comes in, and that's where it can be a real benefit to fixing it yourself with the DIY situation. Um, Manufacturers do not want you to repair your drone. True, right? Well, let's reverse that. DJI doesn't want you to repair your own drone, right? Everyone else doesn't care. iFlight doesn't care if you repair your own drone or not. They give you options. They sell more parts, right? So you can repair your drone. But if you want to buy yourself another Nazgul NG5 or something like that, or N5, then you're good to go. They don't care, right? It's up to you. That's what this all comes down to. It's not really about if you need to or if you don't, right? Or if the manufacturer wants you to or if they don't. It depends on the type of manufacturer and if they want you to or not, right? Because if they're iFlight, they want you to buy a drone and they want you to crash it. So then most of their customers are going to buy parts to replace and fix, and then they're going to make more money off the parts, right? Just like car companies, just like Ford, GM, all those kinds of things. They want you they want you to maintenance to their service providers, right? They don't, but even still, they're going to make money off the parts mostly, right? They're going to make more money off of water pumps and things like that because you're going to have to replace those over the life of one car versus you not doing it. Now, nowadays with your car, they don't want you to fix it, right? They want you to take it in. They make all the parts all proprietary. They all got serial numbers on them. It's got to be this, this, and this. You're paying $800 for your light housing hood to get switched out, right? Where on my '03 Toyota Tacoma, I go into the auto shop. I get a little light for $6, replace it, and I'm good to go. So I just saved myself $794 by driving an old Tacoma versus driving a new Mini Cooper or something like that, right? So again, most of the time, no, they don't want you to. But in drones, it's a little bit different, especially FPV. But when it comes to the DJI drones, camera drones. Autel, can't just pick on DJI, Autel, Skydio, these other ones. They don't want you really working on your drone. They want you to go through their service providers and their repair shops in order, so that way they can capture money. They can capture troubleshooting too. That way they can know what's wrong with the drones and be able to fix it later on down the road. And repair skills should be taught before flying. I don't know. Again, if it comes to camera drones, not really. FPV, that's so tough because you're gonna mostly start out with maybe like a Whoop or sorry, a micro drone, a 65 millimeter micro drone. So that really might be what you start out with. Um, but you might not have to repair that, right? Like if it breaks, you just buy another one. But should you learn how to repair your drone? Absolutely. That's why here at Drone Champs we do offer a build your own drone class for $300. So that way you can take those skills home. And if it's something small, you can fix it. Okay. And, we are going to have rising repair costs and all that stuff. We already talked about proprietary parts, the growth of DIY FPV versus closed systems. Now, we have seen a lot of that, right? We have seen a lot of growth uh, versus FPVs is growing wild because of wars, right? Because of Ukraine, because of Iran. Um, well, you're starting to see them in places like Lebanon, where Israel's trying to expand their borders, and Syria, and yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff, right? So, but DIY is pushing the drone segment, right? Before it was, hey, here's a Phantom, and here's a Mavic. This is what you get. This is all you get to use. This is the standard. But now people are saying, hey, I want that FPV. So then what did DJI do? They went out and made Nevada. They said, hey, here's a Nevada. Here's this. They could have made a Nevada a long time ago, right? But they saw the money involved, and now the customer is telling the customer is telling the OEM what to do instead of the OEM telling the customer what to do, which is traditional what we've seen in computers. That was kind of like a Steve Jobs thing, right? Like, we tell the customer what to do, they don't tell us what to do. But now it's switched, right? Because now we're so deep into this digital era that there are long forms. People have older things that they can rely on, and these new things aren't always needed, right? I don't need a new iMac. I don't need a new uh, pair of iPods or whatever else, AirPods or whatever, right? I can use ones that are 6, 7 years old. I don't need new stuff all the time, and that's what ruins it. Can ruin things for companies like Apple and DJI, where they say, "Oh, we're telling you what to do," and the consumer is saying, "You're not responding. You guys aren't even in the same ballpark we are. We're all doing this one thing over here, and you guys want us to do this other thing over here, and it just doesn't work out. This doesn't cut out correctly." Um, okay, so the future of drone repair, modular drones, I really don't see that. They tried that already, plug and play. People don't like that. It's a lot of weight too. Soldering still the best connections and all that kind of stuff. Right to repair movement. I mean, we're not really seeing that here with drones. That's fine. But again, you might see that eventually where you might have to be certified to actually repair a drone like SCI or something like that, or ASE for cars and things like that. AI diagnostics, obviously, we'll probably end up seeing that. So the AI can tell us what's wrong with the drone, and for faster turnaround services. So again, what you want to do is, you want to learn to repair a little bit, but you still want to rely on your local repair shop. Invest in some tools and fly smarter, not harder. That's why you want to come down to Drone Champs, get involved in our events, all this type of stuff. We are going to be at City of STEM this next upcoming week, April 25th or 26th, I believe it is. 25th, Saturday, USC will be there. We'll be giving drone rides to the kids. We've been doing this for years with NASA, the Columbia Memorial Space Center up in Downey. Thank you, Laura Brim and company. They've been so great to us over the years, and it's just something we love to do. If you'd like to volunteer with us, feel free to reach out. It's just a great opportunity, fun in the sun, and it looks like it's going to be a great weekend in Southern California. So again, you want to make sure that you want to save your money by either DIY or sending it to the repair shop, but giving you that flight confidence. Repairs are really important when it comes to drones. If you're flying your DJI, you might not ever have to get it repaired. But if you do, luckily, in this crazy climate that we have going on, there are some people out there like us, like Drone Champs, that can offer those type of services for you. So this is the Pilots and Drones Productions podcast, and we'll see you on the next video. And again, this is the Pilots and Drones podcast. Be sure to check out our website, pilotsanddronesproductions.com. Be sure to check out thedronechamps.com. And we'll see you on the next podcast.